Hello and welcome to the MotoGP Fantasy Preview Live, this time for the Malaysian Grand Prix in round 19 of the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. And that means we've got 2 rounds left as the rematch kicks off with Jorge Martin leading the World Championship ahead of Pecco Bagnaia by just 17 points with 2 rounds and only 4 lights out remaining in the 2024 title chase. It's certainly starting to spice up after last time out with the dramatic events that unfolded there. We'll see if we see any more dramatic events as we go forward into Malaysia this weekend in the Sepang International Circuit. Certainly a circuit that often we see a little bit of drama at there indeed. But this time then, for the MotoGP Fantasy Preview, we've got a very special guest because it is, of course, Moto3 competitor, Australian Joel Kelso, and we'll bring him in after a fantastic pole position last time as well. Joel, how are you, first of all? All good?
Going well, mate. Going well. It's hot here in Malaysia, but yeah, going well. So hopefully we can have another good weekend here, and let's see how we get on.
Obviously, we have to say congrats for the pole position last time. I'm sure the race wasn't the position you wanted, but certainly not a bad ride. Anyway, up there in that lead pack, and it's been going pretty well this season. You haven't quite managed to grab that podium yet, but I mean, you're there pretty much every race weekend now. We see you in the top group, so surely it's coming soon.
Yeah, we got our first pole. I'm over the moon about it, honestly, and yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better time to get that as well. So I was super happy, and yeah, obviously the race didn't plan out exactly how we wanted, but it was still a good race. It was tricky conditions out there, and yeah, it was not easy to manage, that's for sure. But hoping to get on the podium before the end of the season. So hopefully this weekend's the one that we can actually step up on there.
Obviously, we see Moto3 races in Sepang are always kind of chaos with a big long straight that leads to a lot of slipstreaming. So I imagine this weekend is going to be more of what we saw last time in Thailand with those big lead packs out the front. How do you think it's going to be this weekend?
Yeah, it's a hard one to say because obviously with the hotter conditions as well, manages the tire a lot different. And last year was actually a smaller group because the pace was so high. So it kind of just depends how the feeling goes. You know, if you're really fast and you can push the pace, normally can separate into a little bit smaller group. But if honestly we're all together, then it's going to be a massive group because you gain so much time with the slipstream and even the fast corners around this track, you can gain so much from just having broken air in front of you. So it's always, yeah, seems to be a big track where there's a big group and stuff like that. But if it is, then I guess we've got to battle our way through and try to be the best one out there.
Obviously, Joel, you had your home GP just a couple of rounds ago. It must be nice going back to Oz, but of course it's a fair away from where you're actually from in Australia. Did you manage to get back to Darwin at all, or not?
Yeah, exactly. It's quite far away. Yeah, we got to go back to Darwin. We were there for like 3, 4 days before we flew down to Melbourne. So we went directly to Darwin, stayed there in Darwin a bit, see the family, got to see the dogs, bit of everything, and then fly down to Melbourne. So most of the time I spend down in Melbourne as well. So it's like my second home, apart from Darwin and obviously over in Spain.
Ah, very good. Well, glad you managed to get over there because, of course, it's not very often that you guys from Australia and that part of the world manage to get back. But no, good to hear anyway. So, Joel, you're of course here to help us with a little job today, and as we were still explaining just before we came on air, the MotoGP fantasy game. We've been struggling a little bit this season. It has to be said. Our budget isn't exactly the best. Perhaps some bad choices at the start of the year with constructors and the like, but this is what we are left with today. So you can see there that our team in the Gold Rider is Francesco Bagnaia, of course, fighting for the World Championship once again to retain it. And Pedro Acosta there, who's been having some pretty good performances, but a couple of crashes as well recently. And then we have Johan Zarco and Fabio Quartararo, who I hear that Fabio and Yamaha got a new engine this weekend. So we'll see what that's like. And then also Honda for the constructor and Repsol Honda for the team. As I was saying, Joel, the budget is not exactly friendly to us. It's going to be a little bit difficult to make some changes. But looking at that team that we have there, is there anything standing out to you that you think, okay, I'd like to maybe change that, see if we could get someone else or a different team perhaps?
Yeah, it looks like a really good lineup, honestly. But like you said, Bagnaia and Costa in good form, and also Quartararo. I was watching a couple races from last year and even the year before that. And Quartararo was quite strong here, even with the Yamaha. So, and like you said, now if they have a new engine this weekend, that could be interesting as well. I think it's possible though. Maybe something we can do with instead of Bagnaia, we can or we can try with Martin or
Oh
something like
yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Um,
So
because I think coming down the tunnel race, I just think that's going to be a good option because Martin always goes out there and just absolutely puts it on the line, and I think that can actually pay off this year.
okay, so you want to switch Pecco for Martin, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay, let's do that. Let's put that in. So Martin's a little bit more expensive, but it does still leave us with 100 grand left to be able to make another change on top of that. Um, so if we have 100 grand left, so depending on who you want to change, we'll just check the teams and constructors first, because I think Honda's 1.1 million. Uh, Yes, so we won't be able to change the team at all because everything is more than 100 grand more
yeah,
expensive. And
yeah.
constructor, who we got is Honda, isn't it? 1.5. You could change to Yamaha for constructor, but Yamaha only two bikes out there always makes it a little bit risky. In terms of riders, it depends who you change, obviously. Um, Fabio, if you were to change him, then you could have someone that's 2 million. If you were to change Pedro, you could go 2.4. Then obviously Zarco 1.7. So let's have a look.
Let's see.
So the riders within your budget, your total budget would be someone like Miller. There's Luca Marini who picked up some good points in Thailand last time. 25 points isn't bad at all. Alicia Spargo, you could, if you were to change, yeah, either
I could change.
Quattararo or um,
Could I change to Bezecchi?
Where's Bez? 2.3. You could,
That's
but you'd have to
2.3.
change Pedro for him. Um,
Mm,
You could do Maverick. Maverick
difficult
at
one.
2 million isn't a bad option, but you'd have to change Fabio. But you said you
I'd have
liked
to change
Fabio for this weekend.
Yeah. Who else could we change?
This Taka's 1.9 million. Oh, you know, you know who else as well? Of course, the returning Andrea Iannone is here this weekend. I mean, I think it could be a difficult
What's his
weekend for
price?
him. He's 1.6.
Yeah, right. Well, it could be
Mm,
an interesting one. What do you reckon? We
I
could
think
change.
it,
Let's we
it's definitely an interesting one, but I think he'll be well a little bit off the pace, shall we say? Because it's been obviously
Yeah,
5 years
true.
without a MotoGP ride.
That is true. That is true. Although it is a shot, and we could take it. But if not, I reckon the lineup we've got is good because I reckon Martin will be up there. Costa will be really good because it's a braking type of track as well. You know,
Yeah,
last corner and the first corner as well. And Acosta is incredible under brakes. And like I said, I've been watching Quartararo, and Quartararo's been doing so good on the last 2 years here, and I think and like as in so good, like as in quite a good reasonable result. And I think if like you said, he's got a new engine this weekend, could be something interesting in there as well.
yeah. Well, if you're happy, we don't have to make a second change. We can just leave it at one.
For me, that looks like the lineup then.
Okay, let's confirm that trade with Martin going in instead of Pecco Bagnaia. Certainly an interesting one, that one. I think a lot of people, they've got one opinion or the other, you know, who they think is going to perform this weekend. Of course, Jorge in the stronger position championship-wise, 17 points ahead, and looks very good this year. Doesn't look like the pressure is getting to him so much compared to last year.
Yeah, I think honestly, Bagnaia is always a good shout, but so is Martin. So then it's always a tricky one. Although the reason why I choose Martin is just because I reckon that he's obviously got that point of range, and he's always going for it. You know, there's no holding him back, and I think at this sort of track, at this sort of moment as well, I think he's just in a really good run of form. Even though he finished second last time out, I think he's in a good moment, and I think he's always going to go for it. And I think without that pressure on him, because he doesn't have that pressure on him, just it seems like he just rides and just does his best, and
Yeah.
that is bringing home the results this year. So I think, I think he's a good shout for this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's that consistency that's been killer this year, hasn't it? So definitely we'll see what happens this weekend. Of course, Joel, as well, we need to chat to you about the rest of your year because with two more races left in this current team that you're in Boe Motorsport, and then moving on next year to the MTA team. Kind of bittersweet because obviously performing well with the team and enjoying it, I imagine, with the guys in the garage and stuff, and then, you know, departing for somewhere else next year. How do you feel about it? Excited and nonetheless?
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's been a great year, and also with the team, I've just really enjoyed my time with them, and I've got along with them so well from the very beginning. everyone inside, even Jose, the boss, is been so good, and we've just been working really well together. And yeah, I mean, we have all a really good relationship inside the team with every single person, and I think that's really crucial. But yeah, next year we've made the change to MTA. I think that also is a good option though, because I've been with Tanucci before in his teams. When the second year I ever went to Europe from Australia, I was with him. So it's also a really good option because we have that relationship, and I think we can really do some great results there as well, and hopefully be able to back up this season. That's been, like you said, a bittersweet season. We've been there every single weekend fighting for that podium, but we haven't stepped on the podium yet, which is really unfortunate. But hopefully we can change that with 2 races to go, and I think next year if we can be a little bit more consistent and be able to push it into that podium even a few more times is going to be the crucial key, because once you get them podiums, well, you bring home a lot of confidence, and then that helps to bring in more podiums. So I think just taking the run of form from this year going into next year, it's going to be better. Not even with the change of teams, just in general, because you're going into a year with a positive season. And yeah, it's been the first year without out injury this year. We've just been able to grow and learn from mistakes and learn from each outcome, even without getting podiums. And yeah, and I think we can take that into next year and really use that energy and be able to bring home results next year.
Yeah, that's a good point. You say about the injuries as well, injury free. Because last season your year was well, it was just an injury at every corner. It seemed like I remember you
Exactly.
obviously had that big incident across the start finish line in Portimao, and then several races later you were still limping around and struggling to get around the paddock. So it was a bit of a nightmare last year. So I guess it's been quite relaxing this year comparatively to how it's been before.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's been so great just to be able to walk normal and be able to walk through the paddock with a smile on my face, and that's why this year it's just been so nice to be able to enjoy my riding again as well. 'Cause I'm not in pain when riding. Last year I was in pain most of the time riding, and even the year before that, my first year stepping up the World Championship, we had a massive leg break as well. So it's been a hard 2 years, and this year's been really nice just to not have that injury, playing on the back of our mind. And I think yeah, it's really helped us this year to be consistent and also learn, because even like I said, we're getting close every time to the podium. We're always there fighting that front group now, and we're a regular there. And there's no surprise to see me up at the front anymore. And yeah, I'd like to get the first pole position as well. It's just yeah, we're gradually getting better each time, and I'm hoping to make that step to continue going a little bit faster ahead, because we want to be stepping on that podium every weekend, of course, and that's what everyone wants, and including myself. So that's what I'm hoping to bring home next year, bring home a good off season and pre-season, and take on the momentum.
Absolutely. I'm sure it'll happen as well. And we wish you good luck with that, Joel. But before we do let you go, just one final thing actually with the fantasy game. We can boost a rider, which means to double their points that they score from this weekend. And with 2 rounds to go, we've got 2 boosts left of the 3 that we can use for this season. So usually the idea of this is that you boost the rider that you think is going to score the most points during the weekend. So I'll cut to the chase. Probably Jorge Martin's maybe a good option this weekend. Or if you think Pedro's gonna win, as you say, a heartbreaking circuit, maybe not a bad idea either. I think he went into the 59s on his first day testing in Sepang at the
Yeah,
start of the year as well. So
exactly. I think we should go with Acosta for that one.
all right, nice. I like it. Bit of a bit of a different one. Okay, so all
There
done
you
then
go.
in terms of the fantasy game. Appreciate the help with that one. It's also not the easiest with the budget that we've got, but I think we've still managed to come out of it with a good team. But thanks for joining us, Joel. We'll let you go because I imagine you've got a track walk to go on now, or at least go over the data or something with the team.
I appreciate you keeping me here. It keeps me out the heat, that's for sure. So nah, thanks for having me on, and I'll be watching this weekend the MotoGP boys to make sure we get as much points as possible and try to bring you back some budget.
Yeah, cheers. That would be much appreciated for the final round. Thank you very much. All right, good luck this weekend, Joel. Thank
Cheers.
you. So Joel Kelso there then, and this is the team that he's gone for. And as he says, it's going to be a hot weekend this weekend in Sepang, not just for the heat that is beating down on the circuit, but also for the action on it. And I like it. He's gone for a boost on Pedro Acosta, which certainly isn't a bad idea at all. To say there, Pedro in pre-season testing on his first day ever in Sepang went into the 159s. Yeah, and I can't understate how unbelievable of an achievement that was. First day, I think only his second day on a MotoGP bike as well, obviously after he had the Valencia test in November, just at the end of last season. First day of the shakedown, bang, into the 159s in Sepang. Not bad at all. We know he's a hard breaker. We know that the KTM likes hard braking as well. And Sepang definitely has a few places where hard braking is needed indeed. So a good shout there. Also, obviously nothing to really fight for anymore for Acosta. He's only just going out there for a bit of pride and trying to pick up that first MotoGP victory. Jorge Martin comes in the place of Pecco Bagnaia, which is probably a controversial change for some Pecco fans, but definitely not a bad change at all. Jorge Martin leading the World Championship thanks to just so many podiums. I think it's 27 podiums or something like that now in 2024 season. Incredible consistency across sprints and Grand Prix, and of course we know he's wickedly fast here in Sepang, holds the outright lap record as well. Johann Zarco stays in, and so does Fabio Quartararo. Not a bad option at all. By the sounds of it, Fabio has a new engine and new exhaust this weekend for supposedly a bit more peak outright power, or at least that's what we've seen on Twitter from his media debriefs. We'll see what he says in ours later, and we'll update you with that one. And then staying in is Honda, and also then the Repsol Honda team. So, going to be an interesting one this weekend. Of course, it's all on the line in the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. And with 2 rounds to go, it really is going to go down to the wire. Of course, we can't finish this without sending our love to those affected in Spain. Of course, MotoGP World Champions, a long list of Spanish MotoGP World Champions. Such a deep-rooted love for our sport in Spain, and seeing the images coming out of Valencia and Jerez and elsewhere in Spain is a painful one indeed. So we send our love and thoughts to those affected currently by the floods there in Spain. But that's going to do it here for the fantasy preview for round 19 in Malaysian Grand Prix. Make sure you're tuning in wherever it is you're watching from in the world this weekend. It's going to be a good one. The rematch starts now.